the weather forecast with Coloca and its multi-purpose banquet hall, Il Palazzo.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and good to have you again on the weather forecast. Hope you were having an amazing weekend. Between tonight and tomorrow morning, the weather will be calm in most parts of the country, with temperatures as low as 12 degrees in the north, Adamawa and central regions. We'll also have as low as 20 degrees in the south region, with the littoral and the southwest regions as low as 18 degrees, and the west region as low as 15 degrees. Next, we take you over to the southwest region, where this evening there is no chance of precipitation in the region, and same thing by morning, with Mamfe having the least temperature at 16 degrees. We take you to the east region, where tonight we have no chance of rainfall in the entire region, and same experience by morning, with Abongbang having the least temperature at 17 degrees. And lastly, onto the far north region, tonight there would be no rainfall in the entire region, and by morning it will be the same experience in the far north region. I encourage you to make our time and go see what the touristic camp of Rumsiki looks like. Thank you for watching, and do have a good night.
Chief Dr. Joseph John Gute visits project sites under the 3-year emergency plan in the East region and says he's satisfied with the pace of execution, especially on social housing projects. As the coronavirus sets up scare in 23 countries, Cameroon and its development partners meet in Yaoundé to strategize on how to counter any possible outbreak. Good evening, and thanks for joining us on the 7:30 News. I am Gladys Tata. The Prime Minister, head of government, has expressed satisfaction with the level of execution of the social housing project in Bertoua and called for the acceleration of all other projects under the 3-year emergency plan. Dr. Joseph John Gute made the appeal in Bertoua today at the start of a day-long working visit to the East region. He equally presided over a campaign rally of the CPDM party at the East regional capital. Christian Che Atam presents highlights of the Prime Minister's stay in Bertoua.
Prime Minister Joseph John Gute was received in the locality of Bonis, a few kilometers from Bertoua upon his arrival in the east. Governor Grégoire Mvogo, accompanied by the elite and a cross-section of the population of the east, turned out as the head of government was accorded military honors. The first part of his working visit saw the head of government inspecting some infrastructural projects under execution within the framework of the 3-year emergency plan in Bertoua. Joseph John Gute made a stopover at the social housing scheme, which aims at equipping Bertoua with 100 low-cost houses, a school and a health center. The Prime Minister held exchanges with the construction company working on the project.
We are at 95% of the execution. We believe that within a month or two, those houses could be up.
The head of government also inspected the progress of work at the Regional Referral Hospital in Bertoua. Joseph John Gute called for an acceleration of the project.
The work has not been as it should have been. We are at 38% of execution, which is quite low. We are going to press to ensure that by the end of this year, this very important hospital, which is to help the people of the eastern region, should be completed. These are projects the head of state prescribed. There's no reason why they should delay.
The 40-kilometer road under construction in Bertoua within the C2D program was also a point of attraction. The Prime Minister was presented with a road being constructed using local materials.
It's easy to put in place, it's easy to manage, it's low cost. It's very important that our local authority should appropriate this new way.
Joseph John Gute also chaired a meeting of the CPDM party in Bertoua, where he invited supporters to remain committed to the ideals of the CPDM as they go into the February 9 municipal and legislative elections.
While on his maiden visit to the East region, Prime Minister John Gute visited some important ongoing development projects in the region. Mokom Robert Acho took interest in 3 of these projects, which include the 100 low-cost housing site and to the Bertua Referral Hospital, as well as the tarring of streets within the Bertua municipality. Robert?
The ongoing construction work of the Bertua Referral Hospital is progressing in the neighborhood of Kamsik Bipondo on a surface area of 5 hectares. According to officials who are carrying out the work, the Bertua Referral Hospital, when completed, will compose all the components in terms of equipment and staff worthy of a referral hospital. Access to the building is either by lift, stairs, or a runway right to the 3rd floor for the physically handicapped. The construction work that started in 2017 is at 38%. It is expected to be through by 2021. Next to the referral hospital and separated only by a motorway is the project of the construction of 100 low-cost houses of various shapes and dimensions. While some of the structures are bungalows, others are story buildings. Attached to these low-cost houses is a primary school, a supermarket, and offices for public use. 2 unoccupied pieces of land of 2,000 meter squares each have been reserved for the imminent construction of the police and the gendarmerie offices for security. The 3rd ongoing development project, visited by the Prime Minister, Head of Government, Chief Dr. John Gote, is the tarring of some streets in Bertua, at the end of which a total of 16 kilometers stretch will be tarred in different quarters. The tarring, which kicked off recently, is estimated to end in 2021. It is thanks to the Cameroon government and its partners that these and other development projects are taking place in the capital town of Bertua and other localities in the East region.
It is no more news. The coronavirus has already claimed over 258 deaths in China, plus 9,770 cases worldwide. Alice May has been researching on the virus and compiled the following report for the 7:30 News.
Coronavirus was first detected in the central Chinese city in Wuhan. It has caused the death of 258 persons in China and 9,770 cases worldwide. According to confirmed sources, some 776 other infected cases have been recorded in other Western countries, and most recently being the case of a 9-month-old baby. On a similar note, 6 confirmed cases have been detected at the United States, France, Germany, 19 in Thailand, 17 in Japan, and 2,100 confirmed cases in other countries, with 241 people under investigations. No case has been recorded in Africa. Chinese officials say the most common types of coronaviruses are MERS and SARS, and is spread through animal and human to human. Scientists have been illustrating that this virus emerged from a fish market in China. On the 30th of January 2020, the World Health Organization declared an emergency for World Health sanitation. Security measures have been put in place at airports and border towns for safety reasons. Hygienic practices are also recommended.
And in a related development, cases of the 2019 new coronavirus have been confirmed in 23 countries, with none yet in Africa, according to official sources. That notwithstanding, the WHO has declared the disease a global health emergency as international concern. Cameroon and its development partners, like the WHO, have met in Yaoundé and strategized on how to present any possible outbreak. Beatrice Ngomi in the following report presents the measures taken.
To a global issue, a global approach. Such is the case with the 2019 new coronavirus, which is the global concern for now. Over 1,000 cases of the disease this far have been confirmed in 23 countries, and Cameroon is gearing up to roll back the disease. The airports and transport agencies will not be conducive areas for the disease.
Multi-sector collaboration between the Ministries of Public Health, Transport, External Relations is effective to reinforce epidemiological surveillance of travelers and animals at various entry points in airport and seaport. Isolation rooms has been identified in airports and health facilities likely to receive cases.
The disease surveillance in the regions and also in health facilities has been beefed up.
The Center of Public Health Emergency Operation was placed on a state of alert. With regards to diagnosis and management, the Central Pasteur of Cameroon has the technical capacity to conduct the biological diagnosis of the diseases. Rapid investigation and intervention teams are available in the 10 regions.
China has recorded the highest number of cases. Travelers are said to be the main transmitters of the disease, and countries are on the alert. Cameroon inclusive.
And activities to mark the 54th Youth Day have been launched in Mintom, and we shall be coming back to this report in a subsequent newscast. More than 140 motorbike riders from the Upper Plateau Division and the West Region have received Category A driver's licenses. The gesture is from Anneli Bernard Fongang. The ceremony to hand over the license was witnessed by our reporter Chanceline Nanze of CRTV West in Bafoussam.
There are 142 of them from the 9 chiefdoms that make up the Upper Plateau Division. The commercial bikers have been duly trained and the charges of their driver's licenses taken care of by the one they call their PATYCHOU.
I am very happy for my driver's license. During the training, I learned a lot about
According to the donor Bernard Fongang, the initiative that is in its 2nd edition is just a part of his vision of promoting the youth of the region.
Our dream is to help to train all the motorcycle drivers in Haut Plateau to transport carefully all our children, all our friends, all the members of our family.
The SDO of the Upper Plateau, Yampen Usmanu, lauded the initiative on behalf of the government.
Tonight, in our series on fiscal innovations for 2020, we focus on measures put in place to fight against tax evasion. They include the easing of procedures to control transfer prices and on readjustments in the deadline to control these prices. Clarice Aretakang tells us more in the following report.
The price at which companies with common ownership transact with each other has been decried as an activity which is a hindrance to effective fiscal revenue collection. A phenomenon taxation and accounting experts say is a sure gateway to tax evasion. In Cameroon, even though a number of mechanisms were enforced in order to fight against the scourge, a number of shortcomings have been observed. They include inadequacies regarding the arm's length principle of full competition, inaccuracies in the requirement to do annual reports on transfer prices, oftentimes mistaken for the requirement to submit more detailed paperwork needed for tax controls. There were equally complaints about cumbersome procedures which obliged the taxation administration to establish prior presumption of profits transfers. These form the basis for fiscal measures put in place to effectively address the tax evasion challenge. Focus is on aligning domestic legislation to international standards. The principle of full competition has been reviewed to ensure conformity for related enterprises, putting them on the same platform as companies with a sole proprietor. Furthermore, the requirement to notify or report on transfer prices has been reinforced. The aim is to evaluate risks associated with profit transfers. Meanwhile, procedures to control transfer pricing have been eased and the control deadline readjusted from 9 to 12 months. Enterprises headquartered abroad are targeted in a bid to get them pay the fair price.
And on to religion, the 67th General Assembly of the Union des Églises Baptistes du Cameroun will wrap up this Sunday in Diki, Mbam and the Noble Division of the Center region. This year's edition focused on strengthening the bond of love amongst Christian faithful while praying for peace in all parts of the nation. Our reporter Joyce Tata has more in the following report.
Faithful of the Église Baptiste du Cameroun hold their 69th General Conference with focus on promoting peace, living together and the social well-being of the Christian flock. It was the raison d'etre of this gathering, which lasted a week long, involving Christians from different parts of Cameroon converging on the Bethany de Mafé parish in Diki.
Our purpose is togetherness, to be together and strengthen our unity. Strengthen our unity in churches, strengthen our unity from different tribes groups, from the north to the south, from the west to the East, and we are praying that people should work together for the unity of our country. The problem is not fighting, the problem is dialoguing. So if we know something that can bring us together, we need to put it in use. In our church, we have people coming from the north, where crisis is also happening. Boko Haram is attacking us there, and we are praying so that no war should be in our areas.
The curtains of the 69th General Conference of the Union des Églises Baptistes du Cameroon will be drawn this Sunday with a prayer for the success of the nation.
Meantime, Christians of the Roman Catholic Church of the Mary, Queen of the Apostle Church, Mvolier, have organized a special mass with their counterparts from 8 different episcopal dioceses in the Center region to pray for peace to reign in Cameroon. The pontifical mass was officiated by the Emeritus Archbishop of Bertoua, His Lordship Roger Perrin, representing the Metropolitan Archbishop of Yaoundé, His Grace Jean Barga. Alice May has details of that story.
In songs and praise, the Christians of the Mary Queen of the Apostle Catholic Church Mvolier have been called to worship Christ through fellowship. The call was made by the Emeritus Archbishop of Bertoua, Roger Perrin, following Bible lessons on love, peace and unity. He lectured the Christians on the importance of sharing and living together as good Christians. The ceremony was graced by a conference on mondialization and sacred lives of Christians, presided by Father Jean-Bertrand Sala.
Now with globalization, we have the development of the means of communication. The religious, as they gather today, they have to go inside those means of communication to teach people and to bring the value of gospel inside the means of communication.
During the ceremony, certificates of fidelity in Christ were handed over to some sisters in Christ from all the 8 different episcopal dioceses in the Center region who have been in service for 25 to 50 years.
And on to this sad story, the death has been announced of Muslim leader and Imam of the Adawa Mosque in Yaoundé. He died this Saturday at about 3 a.m. Family sources say the deceased has suffered from a stroke that affected his liver. The late Imam, who was one of CRTV's collaborators, has been buried in Soa according to Islamic tradition. He will be remembered for his relentless efforts in promoting good morals and the Muslim religion. He leaves behind family members and the entire Muslim community to mourn him. And we take you to the West region, where the 26-year-old teacher, Boris Chakunte, who was stabbed to death by a student, has been laid to rest in his native Bazu village. Colleagues, friends, and family members turned out in their numbers to pay their last respect to someone they refer to as brave. We have details of the burial ceremony with Kevin Nembo from CRTV West in Bafoussam.
The soldier of the wild chalk, described by many as a go-getter, disciplinarian, and fervent Christian who was killed last January the 14th at Government High School in Colbison, Yaoundé, while trying to instill discipline in his own student, embarks on his final journey to eternity in his native Ndiptatu. Johnny Chakonte Kevin's parents, who gave their all to see their son succeed before death would snatch him, were in deep pain. His colleagues from far and near cried throughout, difficult to bid goodbye. Under the scorching heat, pastors prayed for the repose of the soul of the 26-year-old mathematics teacher who simply wanted to exercise his profession. His colleagues sang as if to say, "Kevin, you fought a good fight." And going by the holy book, there is a time for everything. The officiating pastor said he has surely accomplished his mission on earth, and God thought it was high time to call him back. The presidential couple's message of condolence to the bereaved family and the entire educational family was read by Bazu SDO in the presence of Minister Jean-Claude Mbwenchu and a host of dignitaries. One soldier of the white chalk, a veritable warrior, educational torchbearer might be gone, but the fight continues, said his colleagues of the 58th batch of the Higher Teachers Training College in Yaoundé, who paid him last tributes in a grand style.
And may his soul rest in perfect peace. 37 agents of the National Hydrocarbons Corporation have been awarded 42 medals of honor for their commitment to work. This was during a ceremony in Yaoundé attended by the Minister for Labour and Social Security, Grégoire Owona. The 37 agents honored were told by the Executive General Manager of SNH, Adolphe Mudiki, that their combined efforts resulted in a general revenue of about 1,200 billion CFA francs transferred to the public treasury. Cynthia Saptala has more.
37 deserving agents of the National Hydrocarbons Corporation, SNH, rewarded for their commitment at work, a commitment that has contributed to the great strides made by the last years, with a general revenue of more than 1,200 billion CFA francs transferred to the National Treasury. Between 2018 and 2019, the National Hydrocarbons Corporation increased production of natural gas to 469%.
We are particularly happy about the entry of Cameroon into the small circle of countries exporting natural gas, thanks to the commissioning of the floating liquefied natural gas facility installed offshore Kribi.
These achievements were saluted by the Minister of Labour and Social Security, who acknowledged management's efforts to put those within the corporation and Cameroonians at large at the center of its production chain.
I want to salute the total engagement of SNH's top management as the leading head of the employer syndicate during the negotiations leading to the signing of the July 10, 2018 Convention on a new collective agreement regulating the hydrocarbons sector.
During the ceremony, Yaoundé acknowledging the hard work of these agents, 22 silver medals, 17 silver gilt medals, and 3 golden medals were awarded to the 37.
I want to thank the Lord first, grateful for the general management of SNH.
I'm very delighted to be distinguished by the state of Cameroon. I would like to thank my hierarchy.
As the National Hydrocarbons Corporation prepares for its 40th anniversary in March, the company continues to pursue its objectives of promoting the national mining domain and managing states' interest in the hydrocarbons sector.
Today is the first day for Britain as an ex-member of the European Union. It comes after the British left the European Union yesterday after 47 years of membership. Charles Ebune reports on day one of UK out of the EU.
The Union Jack leaves all European enterprises in this mid-winter night dream for British European Union theatrical connections with Othello and King Lear acted on the same arena at the same time on the same day. This is the United Kingdom, a day after departure from the European Union, where she spent 47 years as a member with its 66 million consumer market. On the banks of River Thames, the vigils to mourn and the parties to celebrate the living held adjacently. Downing Street Chief Tenant Boris Johnson delivered a message of unity online in a Trumpian way. Out today politically, the United Kingdom will for the next 11 months apply European Union rules without being a member. The uncertainty of certainty.
And over in the Littoral region, members of the local organizing committee for the Chan 2020 Douala side are intensifying strategies for the city to welcome the competition. The second preparatory meeting that focused on taking stock on the output by the 12 commission members since their installation. This was in the presence of the governor of the Littoral region, Samuel Dieudonné Ibaha-Diboa, president of the Douala side commission. Details with Saline Dolo from CRTV Littoral in Douala.
As the countdown to the Shan narrows, members of the local organizing committee for the Douala site are amplifying strategies to make the city welcome the sporting jamboree in grand style. Their second meeting was therefore to take stock of the output by the 12 different commissions since their installation, which according to the site committee president, Governor Samuel Dieudonné Ivaha Diboua, is satisfactory.
The committee settled by the Ministry in charge of Sports is working. The situation is the one of hygiene and sanitation campaign that we have also launched here in Douala since 1 week, but we have to do it every Thursday from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m.
The heads of commissions and coordinators of the Douala, Bepanda and Japoma sites are optimistic that Douala is up to the task.
We are ready for the Shan, and we have a new organization. We have 12 commissions, and every commission have an objective.
Governor Samuel Dieudonné Ivaha Diboua, however, encouraged them to continue in the same spirit as they await the visit of the CAF inspection team on February 9.
Over 300 children are taking part in the launch of the 2020 judo season at the Yaoundé Multipurpose Sports Complex. The event started earlier today. Daniel Ekonde was there and compiled this report for the 7:30 News.
Taking turns in different categories are 370 young athletes at the Table Tennis Center. The children below 14, as it has been, are setting on motion the 2020 judo season. The ones who win their combats express their thoughts.
It was not too difficult for me because she was not of my size now, and it was very simple for me, and she was short, so very simple for me to win.
I was fighting against my opponent. I was not really sure that I was going to win them because determination gave me the victory.
But for the Cameroon Judo Federation, there is concern on how things will unfold for the rest of the year.
We have to try to qualify the maximum of athletes for the Olympic Games at Tokyo, Japan.
Burdened by Cameroon's participation in this year's Olympic Games in Japan, the head of the federation gives updates on preparation.
The end of the processes is at the 13th of May, and then I can give you the real number of Cameroonian judo players who go to Tokyo. We have one athlete qualified.
The first judo competition after the launch will take place on February 29 in Edea.
Well, that's how we saw the 7:30 News this evening. But before we go, a recap of our headlines. Prime Minister Chief Joseph John Gute visited some project sites under the three-year emergency plan in the East region and says he's satisfied with the pace of execution, especially on social housing projects. And in this newscast, you got highlights of the Prime Minister's visit. And as the coronavirus sets up scare in 23 countries, Cameroon and its development partners met in Yaoundé to strategize on how to counter any possible outbreak. Thanks for watching. In another 30 minutes, you will be in the company of Atta Badine Umar for Le 20:30. I will be in your company same time tomorrow. Until then, it's bye from all of us on the 7:30 crew. Good night.